Nikhil here, back with another video, part 3 of the muscle builder series, where we're going to go through volume. And in this video, it's going to be a really definitive guide to volume, where I'm going to comprise the findings of some of the best guys in the fitness industry, some of the smartest and most jacked people like Dr Mike Israetel, Eric Helms, Brad Schoenfeld. I'm going to comprise all their findings into a simple definitive video. I'm not going to go through everything. It's going to be a really simple guide that just outlines the framework of how you should program your muscle hypertrophy programs to get the most out of it. So it's going to be how to change up volume, how to use it, when to use it, and how to use it for the different kinds of body parts and the different advantages and disadvantages of certain programming techniques. And this video is going to be completely based on the fundamental principles, and we're going to throw in there a few fancy techniques if you want to. So in this video, I'm going to cut off to a PowerPoint presentation where I prepared a nice presentation where it gives you all the definitions of how and when to use it. And hopefully you guys enjoy this video and you take something useful out of it and you actually get bigger after watching this, and obviously you go to the gym and etc. So hope you guys enjoy this, and I'm going to cut over to the PowerPoint presentation now. So now we're going to go through to the meat and potatoes of what training really is, and that is volume and how to manipulate it to actually gain muscle growth. So this is just going to be the basic structure of today's video and the different slides we're going through. Now volume is defined as the sets times the reps times the weight. So if you do 5 sets of bench press for 10 reps, lifting 10 kilograms or 10 pounds, doesn't really matter for this example, that's going to give you a total of 500. Now that number is the volume you've accumulated in that session for chest and triceps and maybe even shoulders if you want to count it there. Now in order to ascertain growth in the chest muscles, that number needs to incrementally increase on a week-to-week basis and should overall increase in much larger numbers in your overall career. And we're going to go through more of that throughout this video. Now, the science and literature has proven over and over again that volume is the biggest determining factor of hypertrophy. For this video, we're going to consider that as a fact because the science has proven that. And another point I just want to go through, when bodybuilders in their videos, when they're going through their workouts, let's say on bodybuilding.com, or you're watching Jay Cutler's videos or whatever, they mention, oh, you must always keep the tension on the muscle and blah, blah, blah. They're talking about really minute factors that don't really contribute a whole lot to muscle growth in the greater scheme of things. It may be for them because they've already peaked out and they're the biggest ever, but for most people, they're not at that level, and we're going to consider volume as a whole because that is a basic fundamental principle we need to be tracking and understanding. Now these are just some of the different terminology we're going to be using over and over again, so I'm just going to give you a second just to browse over those. Right, and now we have the minimum volume. Now the minimum volume is the amount of work to do to maintain our current mass. And now we use this to resensitize ourselves to prime our bodies for more muscle growth. And you'd be like, why the hell are we training at a minimum volume? Isn't the objective to grow muscle at the fastest pace possible? Yes, but in order to achieve that goal, we need to be sensitive to growth. Because if we are training over and over again, so say we've been training for 6 months straight, we haven't really taken a long break for a month or so. We haven't taken any of those kind of breaks. Now, at that kind of point, at about 6 to 8 months, now this will vary depending on the individual. Maybe if you're a more trained individual, you're going to have to take a longer break. But if you're maybe an amateur or a beginner, you're just starting out, maybe you don't need this in your first year of training because you're really pretty sensitive. But basically what this means is that after long periods of training, you become resistant to adaptation, which means that your body's already used to it and you need to take a break to kind of go away from it. It's kind of like food. Say you're eating egg whites every single day for 3 meals a day, and eventually about a month or so later, eating egg whites every single day of 3 meals a day, you're going to get freaking sick of the egg white. So maybe for a month you go eat some steak, eat some chicken breast, and then the next month you go eating egg whites again. You'll be fine, it'll be delicious, and you'll enjoy it. Now that is a bit extreme example. That is just to give you an example of what the resistant adaptation means, is that it will no longer respond to the stimulus you are providing, volume. It will no longer respond to the volume you're providing to it, so you will not grow. So this resensitization phase should only be used every 6 months
around there, but usually for most people that'll be around 3 to 4 mesocycles, and a mesocycle is about 1 to 2 months of training. It depends how you want to personally structure your mesocycle, but a mesocycle is usually a training where you accumulate volume, or in terms of hypertrophy, or you accumulate volume, then you'll take a deload, and then you'll start again. And now the minimum volume for the different kinds of body parts, for your bigger body parts like your legs, back, and chest, that'll be around 8 sets. So if you're training about twice a week, which is better, and if you're still doing a bro split where you're training one muscle once a week, you can go watch a video that I'll post in the description why that's pretty BS and you shouldn't do that. But if you're training twice a week, you should be hitting 4 sets of legs maybe on Monday, and another 4 sets on Thursday, and that's the same for the rest of these muscles. And you might split it up differently, but at the end of the week you should have accomplished 6 to 8 sets on each of the respective muscle groups in order to maintain your mass. Because if you do 6 to 8 hard sets, you will maintain your mass on whatever muscle it is. Now, your minimum effective volume. This is the least amount of work required to grow muscle. Now, when you're approaching your mesocycle, which is about 1 to 2 months of training, right, your first week of training should start at about 10 sets. Now, this is an average for most people, for most trained people. Of course, the minimum effective volume for, say, an untrained person who's coming into the gym for the first time will be 1 set. If they do 1 set of push-ups, they will inevitably grow. But as you train and train and train, maybe about 6 months of training, your minimum effective volume will be about 10 sets. So for the majority of people who have started training, 10 sets is going to be where around you'll start seeing some growth. Now note, this will be the smallest amount of growth you will achieve. And you might be saying to yourself, well, I want to achieve the most amount of growth possible. I want to do the most amount of work so I can get as big as possible. And as guys, that'll be basically the truth for most of us. But at the start of our mesocycles, we should start around 10 sets and then start accumulating as the mesocycle goes on. So week 2, maybe 12 sets. Week 3, maybe 14 sets. Week 4, maybe 16 sets, and so on and so on. And obviously, for more trained individuals like Ronnie Coleman with his big ass back, it's going to take maybe 16 sets for even him to start growing. So for more trained individuals, your MEV will be a lot higher than others. And for untrained individuals, it will be much lower. So maybe even 5 sets. So it's just really self-experimentation and see where you are. Maybe if you just started, training, you've only been training for maybe 1 to 2 months, your MEV will be around 5 sets. If you're like most people, like the majority of the population, you're pretty average, you're quite a bit smaller than Ronnie Coleman's back, you'll probably be around 10 sets. And if you are that small population who are really jacked, your MEV will be around 16 sets, because it's going to take a lot of work to get a back that size to grow. Then you have your MRV, your maximum recoverable volume. Now, this is the most amount of work you can do in order to make gains. So now, recovery is one of the most important factors when it comes to training, because if we had an infinite ability to recover, we could train 100 sets every single day and we would be absolutely massive. We'd be massive to the point we'd probably look disgusting. But the point is that recovery is the limiting factor, and we need to come to training we need to approach training remembering recovery is one of the most important principles. So we want to train as hard as possible, and we want to train the maximum amount we can recover from, because recovery is what really builds muscle. We don't build muscle when we are doing the bench press. We build muscle when we do the bench press and we go home and we sleep. That's where the recovery and growth actually starts, because bench press, lat pull downs, squats, those all stimulate muscle growth, but they don't actually grow it. That is, the process of growing only starts after the stimulus. So anything above your MRV or anything above your maximum recoverable volume is overtraining. Now you notice in the terminology list I put there overreaching, which is functionally going over your MRV in order to create some kind of slingshot event where you pull back the elastic so far, and just before it breaks you let it go and you slingshot forward. That is another more complicated topic we'll get into another session, but just stick to your MRV. So your MRV is around 20 to 25 sets for most people. And this varies depending on your training experience. As you see here, Ronnie Coleman's back, his MRV is going to be a lot lower. And now that's going to be the opposite of MEV, because for trained individuals, your MEV will be a lot higher, but your MRV actually gets lower because your back is so big that the amount of stimulus you provide will be so damaging that you actually take more time to recover. Because if you damage this back, the actual size of all these muscles here, all these muscles are getting damaged, it takes a lot more to recover. There's more stuff to actually grow and resynthesize here. But when it comes to someone's smaller back, the MEV is going to be a lot higher. So for untrained individuals, you're going to have a pretty low MEV but a pretty high MRV. So your MRV for the average individual will be around somewhere between 20 to 25 sets. So you're going to be looking from starting your mesocycle around 10 sets, and then slowly as you're going through your training week by week, you're going to increase it until you hit 25 sets, or maybe even 20 sets, depending on the muscle group that you are hitting. And we're going to go through in later videos that specifically training for those different muscle groups. But for most, it's going to be around 20 to 25. Smaller muscle groups can handle 20 to 25. Bigger muscle groups are going to be around 20. And we have the maximum adaptive volume. Now this is more of a range, unlike the others, which is around 20. You can have 20 sets, which will be your MRV, and anything above that you can't recover from. But your maximum adaptive volume is somewhere between 15 and 20. It's that range where you can expect the best results. Anything under that, you're going to get pretty mediocre results. Anything above this, it's pretty risky. Like 25 sets, you can't stick there for a whole lot of time. Maybe you do 25 sets for 1 week and then you're buggered, and then you take a nice long rest to actually get that slingshot effect that I was talking about. But really the sweet spot is around 15 to 20 sets. Now, these are the people I highly recommend checking out: Dr. Mike Israetel, Brad Schoenfeld, Mike Zordos, Eric Helms, Lane Norton, and the list goes on. I can really, like Greg Knuckles, the list can go on, but these are really the people I want you to start out listening to. This is where I got all my information from. Eric Helms has done an excellent job with the pyramid of strength training and nutritional pyramid. Lane Norton has done a lot of stuff on metabolic adaptation and volume. Dr. Mike Israetel is responsible for coining most of the terms I use in this video, and I will have links in the description to go to all of these guys' places to check out all of their information. But this is basically a summary of basically all the coins, all the terms they coined. So this is just a summary of all they did, and if you want to go more in depth, you can visit these guys' sites, and I will be going more in depth in my own series about some of the topics they go through. And basically this series, that is not coming up with anything new. I'm not coming up with any new findings. I'm not researching things and bringing new mind-blowing things here. I'm basically summarizing everything and making a concise and definitive plan for you to go through, because these people, they have their own products and templates, but this is just basically a free source of information that I've learned. It's going to be free. It's going to be A to Z of everything you need to know to build muscle. Now, if you want to know more about this or more specific training, because remember, everything I went through in this video are just averages. They're all averages. 15 to 20 sets, that's an average. 20 to 25 sets, that's all an average. All of these numbers that I give here are all averages. So if you want personalized training where you have a personal coach to really tell you, your MRV is 26, that's a little bit higher than the average. There are people who can handle 26. Or maybe you have a low threshold to volume and you only need 19 sets or 18 sets, right? You need to remember these are all averages for the general population. These are all kind of places where you can expect to find your personal landmarks of where you should be aiming for in terms of your volume accumulation. So if you do want personalized training, there are lots of personal coaches. I recommend them at Juggernaut Strength Training, Renaissance Periodization. Lane Norton has come out with these new computer algorithm. I think it's Avatar Nutrition. And you can even contact me. I'll leave my email and phone number below. Feel free to contact me if you want some personal training or coaching. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but the next time this video is going to come out, the next video in the series, we're going to go through more in-depth stuff. and go through the specific muscle groups, and maybe even looking at structuring an actual mesocycle. Mesocycle structuring is one of the most important things. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys next time.
If you guys enjoyed my video about volume, now just to remind you, just to like and subscribe. If you did enjoy the video, I did make this video because I used to subscribe to people like Athlete X and so on, and when I really did follow them, they did give me quite useful information, but it didn't get me the gains I wanted, and it didn't explain the bigger picture for me. They only explained the picture that they wanted so they can sell me their products. The thing is, now when I subscribe to people like Juggernaut Training Systems, Renaissance Periodization, and Omar Isuf, those people really helped me to give me the information I needed to create my own training programs and to create my own programs that achieve the goals that I wanted, not the goals that other people wanted. So I just want to ask you guys just to share this video to other people who feel the same, of who really want the knowledge just as the basic principles so they can use them for their own purposes and for their own goals. So just asking you guys for a small favor to share, and just another reminder to like, share, and subscribe. Catch you guys in the next video.